Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Dry and hot is what we have through the rest of the work week. Late Friday, thunderstorms returning, and we'll continue to have a pretty wet weekend. But for Wednesday, widespread moderate to major heat risks, expanding this in the region on Thursday. This is where we are dealing with the need for some hydration and limiting outdoor exertion. Meanwhile, very little in any kind of accumulation through 8 a.m. Friday, but extending this over the weekend. Now we have general accumulation of ½ inch to an inch for much of West Virginia with locally higher amounts. A marginal flash flooding risk beginning for our Friday night and continuing on Saturday. So eventually some heavy rain may bring some localized flooding concerns, but in the short term, clear skies overnight. Some patchy fog might set up, then we'll have another clear and hot day on Wednesday. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home, New York, 98 on Wednesday, quickly cooling off from there. Meanwhile, D.C. slower to come down from the triple-digit heat on Wednesday, still in the mid-90s with the sun for Charlotte over the later part of the week. Panhandle, the Panhandle forecast, Moundsville does not drop below 71 tonight, then tops off around 96 on Wednesday with some sun, heat index value around 100 there. Looking east for other temperatures that struggle to fall below 70 overnight, then Martinsburg, air temperature could reach 100 on Wednesday. Elkins, 65 tonight. Upper 60s toward Parkersburg with 94 for your Wednesday. Snowshoe, 85. We'll look toward Lewisburg for a low near 60 and some fog. Meanwhile, 67 for Charleston, 94 there Wednesday. We'll see hot and dry through the work week. Storms return late Friday and will stay wet as we trend cooler over the weekend.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
5, 3, 1.
Red 57! Red 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw.
Bill McKenzie hits a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened-to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
And away we go on a Tuesday edition of the CityNet Statewide Sportsline, live in our Health Plan Studios. Brad and Greg with you this evening. Text line's open, 304-8255-304, and we're glad you're with us. However you may be listening or watching around the state and beyond. Coach Hunter, welcome and good evening to you.
Good evening, Brad. How you doing?
Doing great. Looking forward to tonight's show, Coach Hunter. We have not done one like this in a while from this standpoint. We're really interested in the guest that's about to come on. His name is Jake Hendrick, and it's a name you may not have heard too much over the last few weeks, but I think you're going to hear it a lot in the coming months. Jake is president of baseball for BioPrecision LLC. BioPrecision, of course, is the company operating out of the WVU Biomechanical Center over at Kendrick Family Ballpark. Did I get enough names in there for you? But BioPrecision's the company that's operating out of there, and Jake is the new president of baseball. And really interesting backstory, as he's been a coach. He's been in the coaching profession, most recently at Queen's University in Charlotte, which was a Division I institution. And Jake decided to leave the coaching profession on the field and get into this side of the coaching, helping with the Biomechanical Center. And I'm just fascinated to talk to him in a couple of different areas. And when I say we haven't done this with a guest in a while, what I'm talking about, we're going to keep him for 2 whole segments. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff to get into, not only just why the transition for him, and I think that really speaks to the importance of this field and how much runway it has to even grow, to leave a coaching profession and get into this, number one. We'll talk about some specifics on how that center helps the WVU baseball players moving forward and how it helped this last year's team. And then thirdly, we'll get into, and I think this is fascinating, and we've talked about this, Greg, in general terms, how that building and those services can help in the recruiting world. Well, BioPrecision is putting on an event coming up here at the end of the month called the Filthy 40, and it will invite, or has invited, 40 of the top prospects around the country, high school players, class of 2028, to come into Morgantown and get analyzed in the center. If you're a pitcher, you get your delivery analyzed. If you're a hitter, you get your stroke analyzed and get all of the data that's available to you and put forth. And what a great service that is for high school kids to be able to come in and get that. The secondary bonus, or maybe the primary bonus for WVU, even though this is not a WVU event, this is a BioPrecision event. So it's not something that WVU is putting on, but certainly exposing your facility to 40 of the top high school players in the country I would think, be pretty good in the recruiting world. So really fascinating and tremendous idea.
Oh, yeah, very much so. And again, the center opened, I guess it was early spring of 25. And, it's sort of, okay, here it is, but didn't quite understand. Now, this past year, it started to get a lot of attention.
Yes.
And even during the NCAA tournament broadcast coming out of Hendrick Family Ballpark, a lot of features were done out of that. We've had a lot of talking points out of that as we continue to focus on it. But really, the understanding of it from those of us that are just lay people is, I don't think, scratches the surface of what it can really do. So I'm really interested in talking to Jake, someone who's been on the ground in the baseball world, and getting an understanding of how this actually is put into implementation.
Yeah, and how it helps both the high school market, those players, or youth market, and then how it translates into the college players. I think Jake will be a great one to explain that in detail because, to your point, Greg, we've talked to Steve Sabins about it on this show and on Three Guys. We've had some of the players on, and they've talked about it in kind of general terms about what it's meant. But I think this is the first time I've heard a deep dive, or we will hear a deep dive on what this is about, what BioPrecision is trying to do from a company standpoint, and then how this building and these services help WVU. So I'm interested to sit down, and it's about as long form of an interview as we get to do on this show. It's a perfect time of year to do it. There's just not a lot of sports going on right now, and we're still a few weeks away from WVU football getting underway. So we thought it'd be a great time to sit down with Jake Hendrick, president of baseball at BioPrecision, and really get a good understanding of what goes on at that facility. So Jake will be here in just a few minutes. If you have a question, feel free to fire that at us at 304-8255-304. We'll attempt to get a couple of those in throughout the interview as well. So if you're interested in getting something to Jake, shoot a text over, and we'll certainly try and keep an eye on that when we're talking to him. Speaking of not a lot of sports on right now, there was World Cup soccer earlier today, a semifinal. Spain defeats France 2-0, so Spain moves on to the final. We've got the Major League Baseball All-Star Game coming up this evening. I'll watch that. Will you watch that? I know we have this discussion every year.
Yeah, probably bits and pieces. I need to mow. So
mowing's going to take precedent over the All-Star Game?
I'll be on the tractor until it gets dark. So, yeah, having been away. Now, your yard just grows, to 27 feet. Some of us want to get it mowed down a little bit. So being gone away for a week, I need to jump on that. But when that's over, I'll turn it on. Home Run Derby last night. Watched bits and pieces of that.
I cringed as a Cardinal won it. I cringed. There's one Cardinal I like. That's it.
You know what? As you watch,
Jordan Walker won it, by the way.
Yeah, as you watch J.J. Weatherholt going through his major league career, if he sticks with the Cardinals, boy, do they have a core nucleus of young guys.
I know, it's bumming me out.
Jordan Walker,
yes.
Their shortstop win is, all these guys are like 23, 24, and they're all outstanding. And JJ very much in the middle of that, but he's not going to be a one-man show for them.
Cardinals have been very mediocre for a number of years now. Maybe bad in certain cases have the Cardinals been.
Says a Cubs fan.
They've gotten it figured out a little bit with some of their young guys. Yeah. Walker winning the Home Run Derby, certainly a talent. You were up close to Jordan Walker. Yep. We watched him take BP when we went up to see Victor and JJ. Yep. Big dude.
Oh, yeah.
Big human. Can generate some bat speed there, and then certainly, obviously, with JJ on board and inked that new long-term contract, the Cardinals do look like they're they're finally figuring it out, much to my chagrin. The other thing going on right now, we talked about it last night some, the NBA Summer League is getting into full swing. Javon was in action last night, Javon Small for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's playing a ton. He started, and he's clearly, last year I thought at times, Greg, especially in the Summer League, the Summer League can be difficult because guys are trying to get their own a lot. So a lot of times it's whoever gets the rebounds bringing it up the floor. I thought with Memphis last night and watching that game, it was clear you clear the glass, find Javon, and let him control the offense and get it up there. So he did a great job there, clearly in a leadership role on the Summer League team. Just didn't shoot it real well last night. Just 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 5 from 3, but played 29 minutes, had a team high 4 assists. Memphis is scheduled again tonight to play on ESPN against Golden State at 7 o'clock. I mentioned this last night. I'm hopeful Javon plays again. A lot of times these Summer League teams mix in different guys on the second night, especially a guy like Javon who they have a good idea of what he can do. But 7 o'clock tonight, Golden State, Memphis, maybe we get to see Javon again. Here's another sneaky one that may have gotten past you. Eric Stevenson's playing for Denver.
Oh, okay.
In the Summer League here. They're on immediately following that game. So they're 9 o'clock tonight ESPN. So you get back-to-back West Virginia players, theoretically. Stevenson in his first game in the Summer League back on Friday, 25 minutes, had a team-high 3 steals. Then he came back on Saturday against Minnesota, 21 minutes, 18 points, made 4 threes in that game. So Eric getting some good run for the Denver Nuggets. So tonight, get a chance, maybe, we hope, to see 2 former Mountaineers in Javon Small and Eric Stevenson. So there you go. When you get done with your mowing and you rush in, as you're getting a little something to eat there, you can turn on Summer League if you don't want to watch the All-Star game.
Should make note that Gavin Kelly and his College USA All-Star team, or whatever you want to call it, continues to roll in their tournament. Which
at Japan at 12:30 this morning.
Yeah, and just cruised to a victory there. I think they 10-runned them. Actually, Korea was the 10-run yesterday, so now it's going to be Japan in the gold medal game.
It wasn't Japan last night? I thought they played Japan last night.
No, it was Korea last night. Last night, this morning, whatever it is. These games are in Taiwan.
Yes.
So 10-0. He had a hit in that game. Has had a hit in all 3 of their games so far as the U.S. is undefeated heading into the gold medal game against Japan, rematch as West Virginia, as the USA beat Japan, but in their closest game so far in this tournament, 3-2 earlier in this tourney.
There you go. Gavin tearing it up, and certainly he'll be back next year heading that Mountaineer baseball lineup along with Armani Guzman, as we talked last night. All right, we'll continue this discussion about WVU baseball and about the Biomechanical Center in particular. Jake Hendrick coming up next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. For years, rural communities in West Virginia waited for reliable, high-speed internet. Now, fiber is most likely at your front door. Public investment helped build the opportunity, and CityNet delivered the service to homes and businesses just like yours. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can count on, switching to fiber has never been easier. Fast downloads, smooth streaming, better connections for work, school, and everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
For over 20 years, Dan Calva Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve with free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. Whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. All right, as we talked there in the open, we're thrilled to be joined by our next guest, and we've talked so much about this new biomechanical center over at Hendrick Family Ballpark, so we're happy to be diving in and get some more details on exactly how this thing works and get a better understanding of what it brings not only to high school baseball from a recruiting standpoint, but also how it helps the current West Virginia baseball players. In order to do that, we're pleased to welcome Jake Hendrick, President of Baseball for BioPrecision LLC. Jake, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, look at that. It worked, Hunter.
Perfect. It looks good.
It worked perfect. Backer. Look at
Love
Jake.
that.
Jake's like a pro here. Look at that background.
He's even centered in
Wow, that is really well done, Jake. Well, good evening. Welcome to the program. We're glad you made some time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, we've got a ton of questions for you, and I said in the open, this is we appreciate you making time. We're going to keep you over 2 different segments here because we have so much to talk about and so many different things to get into. But let's start kind of with the obvious. I gave a little bit of your background there in the open and mentioned how most recently you came from the coaching world. You were at Queens University, Division I program in Charlotte. Let's just start there, Jake. Why leave the coaching profession in terms of the on-field and stay with coaching? I get it. But come into the private world here with BioPrecision. Why that move?
Coach Sabins is very persuasive. No, I've known him for 20 years. I felt like it was a great opportunity to stay in the middle of things that I'm really passionate about, which are player development and helping guys get better, and human optimization, which is something I'm really interested in. And so the opportunity to grow something, which if you look at my career in coaching, that's kind of where I've leaned anyway. I coached at a D2 in Oklahoma for almost 9 years, and that was about growth and getting better and getting a program to a place that was really exciting and fun. And kind of did the same thing when I got to the Division I level, going to Austin Peay and then eventually Queens.
So I'm sure your previous stops didn't have all the bells and whistles that you're playing with right now. How well did you understand the technical side and the analytical side of what you're now using, and where are you now in getting up to speed?
That's a great question. I think when you coach for a long time, especially when the resources, like you're right, the resources were limited. And so maybe that's some of the draw for me too, is that the resources don't feel limited at all. They're as good as they get anywhere in the world. And so I feel like what it did was it took, what I was seeing with my eyes, and I've always been driven to data, and can we get a clear idea so that we can help a player make informed decisions or help somebody move forward. Even for myself, you're talking about nutrition or making good decisions on how to operate at a high level. So the draw to get around that, it felt I felt comfortable in that space. But then when you see all the data, it just reaffirms everything that you've been doing for a really, really long time. And I'd say that was a really cool experience for me. But then, like anything, when you're getting presented such high level information, there is a learning curve there on understanding what everything is telling you.
Let's talk a little bit about that specific data. And baseball's been ahead of this advanced analytics stuff for a long time. The amount of information that you can gather, not just as a coach, but even as a fan watching the sport, it's really remarkable, and it lends itself to a lot of that. Let's talk specifically and give it to me from your coaching background perspective, and kind of talk to us about how this West Virginia staff, Steve Sabins and company, use this data coming out of the biomechanical center. What are the things that it does, that it shows, that it can give players feedback on, and how does that translate? Dive into the weeds here a little bit for us.
Well, I think the first thing is you got to recognize the partnership that was created between WVU baseball, the School of Sports Science, the hiring of Courtney Simkowitz, the biomechanist. She's one of a kind in college baseball. She's the only biomechanist working with a college baseball team that I'm aware of. And so you got to start there, because she's really the one that, I mean, she has a PhD in human movement, right? And so she's putting together these reports that are so high level and are trying to connect her brain and her expertise into something that can become actionable, that a 18-year-old, a West Virginia player, a coach can turn into something that actually creates and promotes development. And for BioPrecision, it's even younger than that. So the ability to offer that information to a high school or a middle school kid who's really, really interested in how they're moving and trying to optimize that. So we have to really, I think that's the nuance. You can't eliminate the coaching piece. It's what the data shows you is how somebody's moving. It's crystal clear what is happening, but what you do with that is really the difference maker. So I'd say Courtney and what she's been able to do, and then the team that we've hired. Jacob Emerson runs the pitching development side of BioPrecision, and then Micah Cannon runs the hitting development side.
All right, so now let's take that further. What information specifically is given to you? And you can take it from both. If you're a pitcher, what are a couple things that you're looking for? And then as a hitter, what are we looking for? And I'll give you one example to kind of lead you in there. Brody Kresser was on with us and talked about how he thought he was keeping his weight back, but he looks at the force plates underneath his feet, and it turns out when he looks, he is leaning a little bit forward and getting out in front. So that's a very simplistic answer to that. But specifically, a couple things hitting and pitching wise, what's being pulled out of there?
I think that's what you want to do, is get it that simple, right? I know it's almost laughable, but I can picture exactly what he saw. He's probably staring at the computer screen, and you can move the mouse across in time and see, as you're getting into your load and your stride and front foot strike, where is that weight distributed on that force plate. And so you can, there's always been this difference between what you feel and what is really happening, and trying to connect those dots for a player can be really difficult. The coach is standing behind you saying, hey, don't pull off or stay back or do this. And, it's just, it's what the coach is seeing, and then it's just words. But if you can start connecting other senses for people, right, and just pure learning, is there video that you can watch, or is there data that you can see to actually break down a correction that you want to make? And so you're talking about 8 slow motion cameras on each side that are grabbing 600 frames per second, joint angle at very specific times in the delivery or very specific times in the swing. And that's matching up to the force plate data.
So go to the pitching side of things then. We can imagine what you're looking at, but is it lower half, legs and feet placement that are often things you correct, or is it the upper half in terms of the arm delivery and that? Where is it that normally you try to help pitchers?
Gosh, great question. I think, you're getting so much information, but I would always start, this may be personal preference. So if you had somebody else on here, they may start somewhere else, because you're getting a whole picture of the delivery. But for me, when you go to the kinematic sequence, power is grabbed from the ground, and then we're trying to work that up. If you're talking about a pitcher, to release, right, to getting the ball out of your hand with the most efficient process that you can. If you're talking about a hitter, you're trying to get it to the delivery of that barrel. And so I would always start at the base, and, you know, if you've got a kink there, it may be coming from somewhere else, but you're going to have to fix that so that you can get power efficiently from the ground up.
So this is really, really fascinating, and I know that they are linked, but you can't necessarily say just because West Virginia has that, that's why they went to the College World Series. I get it. But certainly from a marketing standpoint, that doesn't hurt either. You have one of these unique facilities. You turn around and have the success that this group and this program had this past season. Can you give us a sense, Jake, from your travels, how unique is this building and these services? You mentioned that Courtney's the only biomechanist around that you're aware of. Just from a facility standpoint, we know it's unique because Paul Skeens is down here using it and working it out. So certainly it's not something that a lot of folks have. Do you have a handle on how many different programs have access to something like this?
I just think it's unbelievable. I think the facility is one thing. That is a money comment. You know, the people that are making decisions, that are taking the data, the partnerships across campus, the amount of people that are working hard to make decisions that can impact somebody's career. That's where I think it's being taken to another level personally. And you got a lot of really, really smart people that are really hardworking, that are running around this place, that it's not an accident what's happening around here, in my opinion.
So you're surrounded by smart people there, but also at home, right? Your wife's a doctor. Did I get that one right? Is she adjusting to WVU also?
Yeah, you know, actually, I've been back and forth between Charlotte, and so my wife and kids are still down in Charlotte. But yeah, she's an OBGYN. She's going to work for WVU Med. And so, yeah, surround yourself with smart people is a good motto.
That's the way to do it. And then when you're back home seeing her before they all move up here, and you wear your Flying WV logo down there, certainly recognizable in the Charlotte area. A lot of Mountaineer fans down there.
Hey, a lot. You see it on the back of people's cars. And, you know, when I was at Queens, because Steve and I have been friends for so long, I guess it had to be his first year as head coach. We set up to play each other, and we played each other 4 times in Charlotte. And so I promise you that West Virginia drew a better crowd than we did.
Yeah, a lot of
I didn't know he was going to be 18-0 when we played. When we played at the time, I'm like, you're the greatest coach in the world. You got 1,000 winning percentage.
Pretty good. Well, it hasn't dipped too much past then either. It's been a remarkable start to a young head coaching career that we know is going to be even more successful moving forward. I tell you what, Jake, why don't you hang tight? Let's take a break, because when we come back, I want to spend some time on a deep dive on this event coming up here at the end of July, the Filthy 40. Love the name, first of all, but I want to dive into that from the BioPrecision side of things and what that means in getting some of these younger baseball players onto campus here at WVU. So we'll take a deep dive into that next with Jake Hendrick, president of baseball, BioPrecision. Back after this on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
This boating season, elevate your family time with Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Proudly family owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer. Trusted experts in premium boats, motors, and service. Discover refined comfort, elegant design, and performance you can feel. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of preseason savings. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com because the weekend's almost here.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Dry and hot is what we have through the rest of the work week. Late Friday, thunderstorms are turning, and we'll continue to have a pretty wet weekend. But for Wednesday, widespread moderate to major heat risks, expanding this in the region on Thursday. This is where we are dealing with the need for some hydration and limiting outdoor exertion. Meanwhile, very little in any kind of accumulation through 8 a.m. Friday, but extending this over the weekend. Now we have general accumulation of ½ inch to 1 inch for much of West Virginia with locally higher amounts. A marginal flash flooding risk beginning for our Friday night and continuing on Saturday. So eventually some heavy rain may bring some localized flooding concerns, but in the short term, clear skies overnight. Some patchy fog might set up, then we'll have another clear and hot day on Wednesday. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home, New York, 98 on Wednesday, quickly cooling off from there. Meanwhile, D.C. slower to come down from the triple-digit heat on Wednesday. Still in the mid-90s with the sun for Charlotte over the later part of the week. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, Moundsville does not drop below 71 tonight, then tops off around 96 on Wednesday with some sun. Heat index value around 100 there. Looking east for other temperatures that struggle to fall below 70 overnight, then Martinsburg, air temperature could reach 100 on Wednesday. Elkins, 65 tonight. Upper 60s toward Parkersburg with 94 for your Wednesday. Snowshoe, 85. We'll look toward Lewisburg for a low near 60 and some fog. Meanwhile, 67 for Charleston, 94 there Wednesday. We'll see hot and dry through the work week. Storms return late Friday and will stay wet as we trend cooler over the weekend.
Welcome back in. The CityNet statewide Sportsline continues. Brad and Greg with you. Text line's open, 304-8255-304 if you'd like to join the show. We'll keep an eye on the text line as we move throughout the second half of the show here, and we're still pleased to be joined by Jake Hendrick, president of baseball for BioPrecision. We're getting a deep dive into the biomechanical center over at Hendrick Family Ballpark, and we'll continue that discussion now with Jake. All right, Jake, let's dive into this part of it, because I think that's the other interesting part of this center is the BioPrecision side of the building, which you're certainly in charge of. And I think this is just a fascinating, wonderful, super smart idea here to have an event called the Filthy 40, which you can give us the genesis of the name there, which I love. The Filthy 40. So you have invites out to 40 of the top high school prospects, class of 2028, if I have that right, to come onto campus the end of July and use the center and get all of the data-driven analysis that we were just talking about that's available to WVU players, but it gives it a chance to be seen by some of these high school guys. So talk us through the event, the genesis of the idea, why you're doing it, what you hope to get out of it, and what this event's going to look like here coming up on July 27th.
Yeah, I think the event was born through the idea of really people understanding, well, high-level players. Can we get high-level players in here and get them on the data and be a part of their development journey? Because that's really, at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about at BioPrecision. And what better group than to target the 2028s who are just about to be able to be recruited. And can we get them here and have a conversation that is more aimed towards development than showcase? Because that's really what you see, right? Is kids are out showcasing their talent, trying to get recruited like crazy, but then the real difference maker out there is development. And if you're a high level player, then the recruiting part is going to happen. And we recognize that. I certainly recognize that. That is going to happen for you, but can we be a part of offering you information that may enhance your development and, hopefully have you be a client that is interested in working with BioPrecision throughout your career?
So you're used to the development angle of things from your coaching career. Is it hard for a 16-year-old high school player to take that information that you're going to give them and then turn around and use it in their own development? It seems to me some high school kids are a little bit stubborn and this is the way I do things, and no, I'm not going to change what's been successful for me. How hard is that for them?
I think that's the beauty of it. I think that if you are stubborn in what you're doing, you're gonna get stuck. You're gonna plateau. You may not have the answer, and so we offer at BioPrecision. We're trying to really meet people where they are. Where I know I keep saying it, but player development it being the most important thing. So if you already have a coach that can take the information and help you, right? They may not have access to the data, but we can provide that, and then you take it to your coach and they can help create a plan for you, then great. If you don't feel like you have somebody that can decipher what they're looking at or put together a plan for you, then we have people in the lab, and Jacob and Micah and myself, that can help you decipher what you're looking at and put together a plan that can push you forward. So that's really the goal every day for the people that are working in BioPrecision. And the event was just the ability for us to target the best players, because that eventually that's what we want to be looked at, is if you are interested in your development and you are one of the best players in the country, then you come to Morgantown and you work with BioPrecision to get better.
So first of its kind here in Morgantown, this event, how's the response been so far since the invitations have gone out as people have been agreeing to come onto campus? How's it been?
It's been phenomenal. It's been unbelievable. I'm so excited about the range of players and talent from Florida to Tennessee to local. I mean, I just was really, you're always skeptical in year one. Can it gain some traction? And I would, definitely, I think you got to recognize the run that West Virginia went on as helping facilitate some of that, because a lot of what's happening when you're brand new and you're a startup is people need to understand what's available here. It's one thing to know that West Virginia has first class technology and the ability to develop their own players, but to know that that's available for anyone is something new. And so it's really just been getting that information out. And I think that we've been working really hard to make sure that people understand what's going to be offered here, and that it'll be a super unique experience for those 40 guys that end up here in the lab.
Let's talk about that for a second, because you mentioned it in the last answers. You talked about potential clients of BioPrecision down the road, not just a one-off for this event. So on the private side of the house, the BioPrecision side of the house, that's part of what you're doing, right? You're looking for these clients that will continue. And so again, because of this, it can go nationwide. You don't have to just be locally here. You can take clients or these baseball players from all over the country, correct?
Yeah, listen, there's a remote ability to this. And I think as we grow, we will get better and better at our ability to offer different things for clients remotely. But the idea is that once you've gotten an assessment, which is really the most important thing, you got to get an assessment done, meaning you got to come get on the tech and you've got to have a report for how you're moving so that we can advise you in a high level way. It's not just, I could write a report for somebody or a development plan or a pitch throwing program because I've got 15 years experience as a coach, but until you have that information, that's the separator, right? You're out, and I point out there because I'm sitting in the lab, but until you get in the lab, you're not really getting a complete picture and having the ability to do something from a development standpoint at a really, really high level.
So how unique is the Biomechanics Center nationwide? I mean, do other colleges, other pro facilities have anything, standalones anywhere? How unique is what you have?
I think it's really unique because we have hitting and pitching together in the same. That makes it really, really unique. I think the pitching lab is more common. It took off first, data supporting and behind pitching, because pitching is, you have the ball in your hand, right? And so you're in more control versus the variable of hitting, where the pitcher, you gotta react to what the pitcher is doing to you. So I think it was kind of natural that pitching labs were first, but for us to put pitching and hitting together in the same lab is very, very unique.
All right, I got a question here from our text line, 304-8255-304. This is Gary in Vienna is asking, Jake, is this available only for baseball, or are softball players available to come in?
Great question. Something we've talked about. It's baseball. It is baseball only right now, but I don't think we're far away from being able to consider softball as well. And this is, we're using baseball as the springboard into complete development, that baseball is going to be kind of the conduit to other sports for sure.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense. I mean, like you said, other sports, softball obviously is an easy transition, but every sport that has body movement with it, eventually you could see some sort of biomechanic need, right?
100%. And everybody's unique. And I think that's what we're starting to find out. Maybe we knew for a long time, but you couldn't put your finger on the uniqueness of how you may have the same problem or be trying to achieve the same goal as somebody else, but how you get there because of how your body is, the decisions you're going to make need to be unique. And if you're not using the data correctly to make those decisions, then you can get stuck in a spot or not make as much progress as you would like to. So those are problems that we're solving every day. That's kind of what I'm waking up attacking, is how do we push this thing forward to get it in the hands of as many people as possible.
Jake Hendrick is our guest, president of baseball for BioPrecision. All right, go back to the Filthy 40 for a second. What's kind of give us a look at what goes on during the day there. Is this all happening inside the facility? Are you doing some actual field work as well? What goes into this event?
Yeah, I think the big thing, and you guys are asking me too about the data, right, is a presentation that BioPrecision and Courtney Simkowitz are involved in, where we really break down what they're getting. They have an understanding, right? You can get on the website and check that out, but a real breakdown of the report so that guys understand what is happening, what is offered, what they're going to be looking at. And then they will run through, like pitchers will be in the morning, they'll run through an assessment, which is basically, throwing a bullpen, and then we'll provide them a meal, and then we'll have the position guys come in after that and do the same thing. But we will have the position guys in and up on the field for some actual work out there too.
And I assume the goal for this event is to make it an annual thing here. You got the first one off the ground, which a lot of times is the hardest, and now you get a little word of mouth going, and hopefully this becomes an annual event here in Morgantown, correct?
100%, and that it grows into something that's really coveted by players to be involved in. Those that are coming right now are super appreciative. I think they understand the value. They're excited, but you're competing against the exact same thing, which is, players that want to end up at the highest possible level. And so where are you choosing to go to spend your time and your resources to get better and to get noticed and to end up, pushing your career as far forward as you can?
Can you take an aging D3 second baseman and improve his skills? Guy to my left was apparently an all-star at his level.
We haven't had the weekend softball guy in here yet. But now that you brought that up, I'm sure that inquiry's coming here shortly.
That's a marketing.
Jake has not been over and watched Bo Park softball yet. That's a potential client base right there. As serious as that gets.
Not yet. I have not made it over there.
That's good. All right. Last thing before we let you go. And again, we do appreciate you spending the bulk of the show with us here. It's been great to get to know you and hear more about this center that we've talked so much about in the coming months. I'm going to open-end it to you. So we've spent here, 30-some minutes with you. What haven't we asked you about the either BioPrecision or the Biomechanical Center that we should have asked or you'd like people to know at this point?
Oh my gosh, I think we covered it, but I think the biggest thing is that it's available to you. And if you got questions about what's going on, the group of people that are here are so interested in your development and being a part of where you are. And the unique piece of this is really that WVU could have kept this to themselves, right? They could have said, we're only going to provide this to our 40 players, and we're not going to open it up to the region or the country or the world. And the difference is that I think, Steve was forward enough thinking to say, listen, we can impact people in the region. We can make baseball better. We can make players better. Why would we not do that? So it's available to anyone that wants to be serious about getting better, and we'd love to be a part of that journey. So I think that's the biggest thing that people need to know. It's open for people to get in here, no matter really what your age is.
That's a great point. And the best way to find more information out or get in touch is to head over to the website. You've got all the information there and contact information as well.
Yep, bioprecision.com. Pretty easy one.
There it is, brother. All right, we appreciate it again. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah.
Won't be the last time we talk. You're going to be now a frequent guest. We love this stuff. Right. It's really groundbreaking information. And again, we're glad to have you in Morgantown and appreciate you taking some time, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Jake. There he is, Jake Hendrick, president of baseball at BioPrecision. Just a fascinating way to do things, not only from the current WVU baseball program, what it may mean in recruiting, what it may mean financially, right? As BioPrecision's a for-profit company there, bringing in money that help the program all the way around as well.
Yeah, obviously our focus is on what it means to WVU, but it has so much bigger impact than just the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. That was Jake Hendrick from BioPrecision. All right, final break to take. When we come back, we'll get into some of your texts, and we'll put a wrap on tonight's show. Next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
The WVU Cancer Institute is transforming cancer care in West Virginia and beyond. The state's top doctors deliver compassionate care and treatment using leading-edge technology and innovative research for patients facing colorectal cancer. From screening and early detection to advanced treatment and survivorship support, we're here for you every step of the way. Call 855-WVU-CARE.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
On the next State of Minds.
We cook West Virginian food is how we like to phrase it.
I knew that every time I would hear a story, and I would hear the same story, but it never got old, about what this meant to the family and how it was served and how special it was to be put on the table.
I love the state of West Virginia. I've met some of my best friends. I'm excited to be back. I still have my pickup truck. I still have four-wheel drive. One of the ladies asked me in the forum if I know how to drive in the snow. I told her, oh, yeah, I spent 5 years in Elkins.
See, that's one of those things. Now that you're coming to Fairmont, you've handled the Elkins winter.
Yeah, if you can handle Randolph County.
I mean, you're moving. This is basically coming back to Florida here when you get to Fairmont. I mean, this is easy.
It's going to be a breeze.
Sportsline on MetroNews Television.
Welcome back in. Final segment sitting at Statewide Sportsline. Brad and Greg with you from the Health Plan Studio. Since 1979, the Health Plan is called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan. Text from Greg from Lake Norman said he missed the first part of the discussion about biometrics, so he apologizes if this question was answered. He asked about, is this something available to other Big 12 players? And that's an interesting question. We probably should have asked Jake about that in what's the availability. And yeah, from the BioPrecision side, it is available to some of those. And again, it's why I think this is such a genius setup, is not only do you have the secret sauce that WVU uses with its players, but then you have the recruiting angle that's coming up with like this filthy 40 that even though Steve Sabins isn't down there making recruiting pitches to these kids, as you're not able to yet, it's exposing the campus and the facilities and what you have here to those top prospects. That in and of itself is invaluable. And then go further, kind of to Greg's point there, as college players not only come in on visiting teams, but also throughout the summer, Black Bears players that come in and see this and want an opportunity to sign up. I think there's a possibility of transfer portal guys that are going to look at this and say, yeah, that's a heck of a selling point. And I think that's something that is kind of a hidden gem of this whole business model as well.
Yeah, and it being an outside quasi, partly. I mean, WVU is involved, but it's also a standalone business. I don't think you can't restrict it to only Mountaineer players or only high school players. I think that, as you said, Paul Skeens has been down here. Now, I'm not sure they charged him the regular rate everybody else, but if you're willing to pay for a session, I think it has to be open to anybody and everybody that wants to come through.
Yeah, I just think it's really there's really some value. You know, one of the other things that sticks with me, we talked about J.J. Weatherholt earlier in the program when Brody Kresser was on with us on Three Guys Before the Game. He talked about not only the force plates and they're keeping your weight back, but he talked about how they have JJ's swing loaded in there with the slow motion with it, so you can go in as another player and try and study JJ's swing. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get the results JJ will get, but what a fun tool to have for a college player to be able to go watch a guy that's in the major leagues and having great success here early and go ahead and pick apart his swing and see what things you can take out of there.
Yeah, I mean, see what can fit with you, right? I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that you emulate those that are the most successful. Gavin Kelly from the other side of the plate is certainly a guy who looks like he's found a similar type of groove.
Sure.
No, but I do think, I mean, it's a huge advantage for West Virginia University. There's no doubt about it. But I do think it's just a great idea for the area, drawing those kids in and all those that come through. And certainly a very unique opportunity for anybody in baseball.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, you're around the state, you're in the region, check it out at BioPrecision. If you're a youth baseball player, have a chance to come over and get the same kind of data that West Virginia's baseball team gets as well. I do think, Greg, too, on just a more macro level, I do think this is one of those things, one of those joint projects. And yes, you're fortunate that you have Courtney, the biomechanist, on board, and you're fortunate that you have a university in an academic setting that's been willing to get involved in this and help in that way. But I do think this is one of those new age ventures that was really part of the genesis of Golden Blue Enterprises. That's why that is set up with Don Robinson heading that up, is somebody that has the ability to look across the landscape and come up with an idea that is out of the box, quite frankly. This isn't something you would have come up with in college athletics years ago. And it gives you the current state of college athletics. This gives you an opportunity to take advantage of it, from a revenue producer to helping your program to helping recruiting. It kind of covers all of those, and it's really a great example of what you can do in today's marketplace, I think.
So, as I said, you played college baseball. I mean, not that you're necessarily that old, but at that time, I assume somebody who had a radar gun on a pitcher was probably the king of the data, right?
Sure.
I mean, all the other
there wasn't
analytics.
exit velo and launch angle and all that stuff and spin rate for a baseball player that can judge some of that. No, back in the old days, you didn't have any of that. And again, some of that, and coaches talk about it, and you heard Jake talk about it early, some of that becomes overload as well, right? You get so much information that you kind of lose track of what you're doing there. So some of it is you do want to keep it simple enough that the player can use it and translate it, but not so overwhelming that you're like, I don't even know what you're saying to me anymore, right? I'm so confused now that now I definitely can't make a smooth swing because you've got too many things in my head. But it's fascinating. If you're a guy that gravitates towards that and can take that and have people internally that can take those numbers and the data and translate that into the coaching. And obviously that's what West Virginia's staff did such a great job of, both on the pitching and hitting side.
And you would think over the years, as you get more and more players go through multiple years of using this technology, it only enhances, right?
That's a great point.
They had a year and a half with it.
Yes.
It's in its infancy.
And as coaches start to use it more, right? Their ability to translate it into actionable information, pitching or hitting certainly becomes better. So hope you enjoyed that show. If you missed any part of that, it's available in podcast form. You can go back and check that out. Fascinating interview with Jake Hendrick, president of BioPrecision. Lots to get to coming up the rest of the week. We'll get into all of that starting at 6:06 tomorrow. Remember, Javon and the Memphis Grizzlies coming up in just about 1 minute in the NBA Summer League. Eric Stevenson and the Denver Nuggets coming up at 9 o'clock. Both of those games on ESPN if you're interested in watching. Thanks for being with us tonight. Greg and I back with you tomorrow at 6:06. We'll see you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.